You know what I fucking hate?
What?
I before E, man. It fucks me up every time.
Except after C?
Yeah, well, that's what they'd like you to think. I ain't gonna portray that. That shit's wrong. That's never right. What about, like, there?
Yeah. Alright, welcome to Cheerio Misconceptions. I'm John Riggs. With me, as always, is Joe Crowley. And we got a big week this week. All sports this week. And that's okay, especially when the Steelers looked as good as they did. They look awesome this week, man. What do you think?
Yeah, man. They look good. They look like I thought they should have looked the whole season.
Yes.
I really don't have much to complain about this week. They played good, other than like the kick return penalty, but I'll let that go for the moment and say that they played very well in all. They improved upon all the things that they weren't doing well in the past, and maybe they're not up to snuff yet, but they're definitely improving, which is very welcoming to see. So they did good. Hey, I'm eating my words a little bit, but I'm more than happy to say it that they did good when they did good. So if it's all right with you, you want to talk about the offense for a bit?
Yeah, we'll start there.
They look great. The first thing you said when we put together this podcast, the first one, you said, is it too early to start hating Todd Haley yet? What do you think now? You still on the Todd Haley hate bandwagon?
No.
No.
I mean, I'm proud to say that I started the hate Todd Haley bandwagon, but I'm also proud to jump right off it and say that I love this new offense. I love it. I think it's perfect for Ben. Keep him standing upright. He still gets to make decisions, but I think he has more options now. He has more places to go with it. He's not looking for just that one receiver.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm glad to say that I was kind of with them from the beginning. I think it's really hard. It's really easy to expect growing pains. You're like, it's a new offensive coordinator. It's all, we're not going to win every game. It's a completely new system from Arians, but it's a lot harder to actually sit there and watch the games in front of you and see the opportunities missed. And like, you expect the growing pains, but when they happen, I'm the first on board. I'm fucking pissed. So, I mean, I'm glad that it's starting to work out. I don't want to jump the gun too much, but
I mean,
the way he's
right.
the way he's calling plays, I don't like how it's been called the dink and dunk offense. I've seen that like 30 times in the last 2 days.
That's all they talk about. I don't know why they get all hung up on it. It's just all these old guys.
Yeah.
They have nothing else to talk about on the radio or in
Yeah.
their stupid newspaper column.
I don't like the way it sounds, but the facts are the facts. And right now, the Steelers are holding the ball for an incredibly long time. Like,
if they're going to dink and dunk 10 yards the whole way down the field, they're going to go from one end of the field to the other. I'm perfectly happy with them dinking and dunking it. I don't need them to take a big shot. Points are points as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And right now, Haley's got them running and passing, short passes. And if it's over the top, I've seen it happen. It just doesn't happen as much. They're holding the ball for an average of 34 minutes and 35 seconds, well over half the game. And that's second best in the league. It's one of the only things we're best in the league at.
Well, that's a good thing to be best in.
Right. But I think Haley is aware, and I think Tomlin and LeBeau are probably aware too, but they will never say it. Haley is aware that we need to keep the ball on the offense. Our defense is getting older, and they can make the plays, but they can't be out there forever.
It's a team game, and if holding the ball, keeping it away from their offense, it's just, that's good defense. Don't let them score.
I don't think it's a lack of running Wallace deep. I think they run Wallace deep a lot. Every ball that Emmanuel Sanders catches is an underneath route that's been cleared out by a Mike Wallace. If ever, and it will happen, that DB comes off, the safety comes down on the Sanders route, Wallace will keep running, and he'll be open, and Ben will throw it when it's open.
And he might catch it.
He may. He
looked good this last week. I mean, I think he looked like he was playing a lot harder. I think he heard or he was aware that he didn't play well last week and that he had to step it up, especially with Brown. Brown comes to play every week.
I love Brown.
And on every play. I love him too. But he comes every week. And I think Wallace was starting to feel it a little bit and said he just had to step his game up. And like we said last week, hopefully he makes us eat our words this week. And he did.
I'm glad. He needs to be good for us to be a championship team. Without him, it's not going to work. So we need him, and he needs us. I know he wants the money. He goes out there and plays. We'll give him the money. I didn't really like the way he reacted, as we talked about. But if I don't give a shit, you can say whatever you want. As long as you come out the next week and you play well, I'll deal with your attitude. It's football.
Right. It's not politics. You
know, right.
Nice to everybody.
That's right.
As long as you win, we all get along.
Same with Ben. I mean, obviously his circumstances are different, but if he's going to go out there and win football games for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I ain't got nothing against you, brother.
Nope, I'm on your side.
Ben.
I'll go to bat for you against anything.
Right, that's right. Ben looked good, eh?
Oh, he's looked methodical, man. Under control. He always found the right receiver.
And fit him in the windows.
When he had to.
He fit the ball in little windows in that zone coverage, man.
Well, he's a pro, man.
That's right. He's 30 this year. It feels like he's been around forever, right? I mean,
he has been.
He has. What, 2004? He won 15-1 his rookie season, and he's won 2 Super Bowls, and he still doesn't. I mean, everyone talks about him, and they'll be like, "Oh, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. Oh yeah, and Roethlisberger's good too." But let's talk about those other 4 all the time. I mean,
why do you think that is?
Because of the stats. He wins, but he doesn't have those god awful 600-yard passing games. He's not breaking Dan Marino's record. He just goes out there, plays dirty, get in the dirt football. You know, he runs around back there, does what he has to do. It's not pretty. Anything Roethlisberger does is not pretty, but I think that's a great thing about him, and it's nice to have him represent Pittsburgh. You know, it's kind of a myth now, like a legend, that all the people in Pittsburgh are these hard. I mean, there are, but I don't want to it's a college city now. It's a healthcare city. It's not steel anymore, you know. So
no, it's not steel anymore, but still there are a lot
still
of
the image,
and there's roots.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And what I mean is the image that Ben portrays is the kind of image that Pittsburgh wants to keep. And it's true, we are descendants of all these people, you know.
Right.
So we were raised that way.
We have the same values, even if we don't.
Right.
Have the same profession.
I know. So I was trying to pick at the myth a little bit at the same time saying Ben represents everything that we want as a Pittsburgher for him to represent.
Yeah, he shows up, gets beat up a little bit.
Other than raping girls. Other than raping girls, he's
we don't need to talk
grade A. Right. He was never charged. Ben.
Not officially, no.
Right. Ben was 14-0 since he's been our quarterback. That when he doesn't get sacked. How about that?
So when he doesn't get sacked, we win. Every
time. Since he started, since 2004.
That's interesting.
That's fucking interesting, man. That's fucking interesting.
Right?
Yeah. All right, so Ben looks good because he doesn't get sacked. We win. So that means that the line must have been good this week, right?
Yeah. I did. You know what I did do this week? Watch I fall down Cologne. He was down every play, including that one big scuffle. He was at the bottom of it, just tackling someone 5 minutes after the whistle. But
so what?
2 weeks ago, this line was in fucking shambles, right? I mean,
we didn't even know who was coming in. We were getting tight ends warmed up to come in.
It looked horrible, and now all of a sudden they look majestic. That's why it's hard for me to say, well, they're back. You know, it definitely was their best game. I'd curb expectations a little bit. We'll get into it a little bit later, but the Giants are next. If we keep Ben clean against the Giants, all right, I'm on the bandwagon. Let's go to the Super Bowl. But
the line kept Ben clean, but the running game was also good. Dwyer, he's still looking like the minibus, you know?
That's a hilarious nickname. But yes, he did look good. He was impressive.
He's not the special bus. He's just a smaller version of Bettis.
Yeah. The Special Olympics will start writing you letters like Ann Coulter.
How many yards did he have this week, you know?
109. or 107. He had 107 yards on 18 carries, 17 carries. I mean, that's impressive. I didn't even see him cutting out big gains. He had that 134-yard run at the beginning of the game, and he had a couple longer ones, but he really worked. Yeah, and he works away. He's great after first contact. He really does look good.
Contact.
Yeah, and that's great too, especially when we're running up the middle. Soon as we show that we can run the ball, this was the first time since 2008 that we had two 100-game rushers in a row. Maybe it's the same person. Either way, it's the same first time the same person ran for 100 yards 2 weeks in a row since Willie fucking Parker.
Fast Willie.
Willie Parker. Oh my God, I hate him with all my heart, but that's for another time.
Wait, no, it's not. Why do you hate Willie Parker?
Because he's the fucking worst. I don't know. He's not even worth. He is. If you're lucky, he might get a run, but every other time he will get hit behind the line. I'd rather take a runner that like Dwyer that gets 2 yards every time than one that gets negative yards every time, but the one run touchdown. And then undrafted, he didn't even play in college. He sucked so bad that he didn't play in college. Then we bring him up and start him as our running back in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. He has the longest running in a Super Bowl for a touchdown ever.
It worked out.
Willie Parker.
He
has one of the best nicknames ever. Fast Willie.
Yeah. He got that when he was like 5. Look at Fast Willie running by again. I hate him and Troy Loney. No real good reason for it. Just don't fucking like him.
All right. Let's move on then. What would you want to talk about?
Well, Dwyer. Dwyer looks great. 200-yard rushing games in a row. It looks like for real.
Well, what happens when Mendenhall comes back?
Well, he'll get some carries, but you would have to think that Tomlin wants to stick with him. That's the way I see him being the starter until he fumbles again. He fumbled in Oakland and kind of cost us the game and sat the next 2 games until Mendenhall and Redmond got hurt. Then he got his chance to start again, and he's looked great. So I wouldn't say it's his job forever if he starts to fall off, which he might, like any backup quarterback might, you know. He comes in, Tommy Maddox plays great, but then your starting quarterback can't be Tommy fucking Maddox. So maybe he sticks around. Arian Foster came in and stuck around, you know. So maybe it happens. Maybe
I don't care who's running, as long as we're running. As long as we're gaining yards, I don't care who it is.
The thing about running is another stat, I'm a stat boy today. If the Steelers run for over 120 yards since 2011, they're 10-0. If they don't run over 120 yards, then they're 6-7. That's worse than their record without Polamalu.
That's interesting.
That's fucking interesting, man. That's fucking interesting.
You have to get them going. And another thing about this, which ties into another pet peeve of mine, in the red zone. They still didn't get that first touchdown in the first 3 downs, which pissed me off, but they got it. The thing about that is...
Were you happy with that call? Going for it?
Fuck yeah, man. I love that. Every second of it. I loved it a lot more when we got it. But
yeah.
It's a little scary. I did want him to go for it just because it was so early in the game and we were so close. The thing about running is you can throw in the red zone then. If they know you can run it in, you can then throw it.
Right. Before, like last year and the last couple of years, it was always
line up 5 wide.
Or we got to find somebody, or we got to throw a fade, or we got to do something stupid.
Right.
But now we have options.
Right. And then all of a sudden you have play action in the red zone. And that's when the whole playbook opens up, you know? So
we have like more tight ends we have tight ends I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name?
Pope?
Yeah, wasn't there another one?
The other touchdown was Johnson.
Yeah.
He's a fullback, but I think he's like a fullback tight end, and then Miller, and then I think we do have someone else. I don't know his name.
I think we're just making up positions now. That's fine.
It's pretty unbecoming, but what the fuck. So, the offense played great.
Defense played well, too.
Yeah?
Kept RG3 in check. I mean, he didn't have a big game. You were complaining about... You were texting me. You were complaining about that we couldn't stop the run, but we did. We held them down. Whatever they have, like 70 yards rushing or something crazy.
Here's the thing about when you run, all right? We do it too. And the biggest thing about when you're going to run 2 downs or even run down and lose yardage, you're going to go to 3rd down. And you have to make those 3rd down catches. So they were cutting off big yards, but once they got to 3rd down, they dropped it. It was incredible. I've never seen so many drops since I watched.
I felt bad for the dude. I seriously felt bad for Griffin. He would hit them in the hands. It would bounce off their hands.
It looked like a West Virginia game. The quarterback throws it at him, just smacks off their hands. It was just, I felt bad for him. So I wasn't exactly sure if it was, I think that our defense caused a good amount of those drops. They called drops. I think they just started adding them at the end there just because they wanted to see how high they could beat the number.
Out. I wouldn't call some of those drops.
Right. I agree.
To the back.
So I wasn't sure. I think the defense did a lot better than they were doing. So that's something. There was a couple there that one of those would have been a touchdown if the guy would have caught it. But the fact of the matter is they didn't let up a touchdown. They let up 4 field goals. Or no, wait. Oh, they did. It's just they missed the extra point.
The dude kicked it right into somebody's face.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was just looking at whatever. I was counting by 3s. But
so Griffin, they can't catch.
Clark got hurt.
We kept him in the pocket. He didn't run around. He didn't do anything crazy.
LeBeau's 15-1 against first time starters or first rookie quarterbacks. How about that?
Oh, whatever. Did you spend all day just looking up stats today?
I just read a couple articles, did my homework, trying to be a good analyst here, doing what I can for the people. Hey, I'm a talking fucking head. How about, could you believe it when they sent RG3 on a fly route with that flea flicker or the halfback pass?
Clark's eyes must have lit up, man, like a kid on Christmas when he sees the starting quarterback out there and he is allowed to ruin him.
He destroyed him, too.
Do you think it was a good hit? Do you think when they threw that flag, I thought it was going to be on Clark.
It was a good hit. I think they throw him too much just because it is Clark. You know?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, shit.
So I guess we have that same prejudice, but I thought it was a good hit. They ended up picking it up. RG3 is going to be good. He looks good. You can tell he's going to be good. Yeah. I mean,
he's been good every game except this one.
He's going to be even better than what he's been.
Well, remember, we talked about this last week. Newton was the shit last year, and now look at him.
Yeah. Yep. Newton has a bad attitude. It's just hard. I think Newton is more physically gifted, but it looks like RG3 is more well-grounded, more of a leader, more of someone that can take the ups and downs of this of the NFL season. Look at us. Look at me. I've been losing my fucking head one week, sucking their dick another week, just going crazy. So I couldn't handle it. They couldn't put me in there, and I couldn't get pissed off about nothing. So not anybody can just go in and do it. I mean,
I think when things are going well, then you're level-headed. I mean, last year, everybody was on Newton, so it was easy to be the good guy. It was easy to say the right things. Now you have a few bad weeks in a row, and then you're not so sure. And this is really the first time that Griffin has struggled, and a lot of the struggles weren't even his fault. But I'll give him credit for not throwing anybody under the bus or saying anything like my receivers suck or whatever.
D'Angelo Hall is a lunatic. What the hell? I don't even know what he got mad about. What Me either. He didn't even yell at the defensive back who threw him down, or the receiver. Who did it? Antonio Brown or Sanders? Someone grabbed him, threw him to the ground. He got up and just started. Something snapped. He went crazy. It's like
he takes his helmet off. The ref, I don't know what the official said to him. It was probably like, "Hey, you have to keep your helmet on," or something. He was like,
"I'll fucking kill you. Look at me. Look at me in the face. I'll fucking kill you." They need to.
And then what was it? Oh, who the hell was it? I think it was Ben. Ben was standing there, and he goes over and he's like, "Hey, man, what the fuck's you better chill out."
Yeah, and then he gets mad at them. They need to give his mom a beeper and just give her a call every time he acts a fool. Just get her out there and grab him off the field.
You got to come pick up the D'Angelo from school.
What a child. I couldn't believe that. Penalties. The penalties were a lot better this week. Like I said on the opening, that kickoff return, brutal.
What did you think of Brown there? I mean, Brown's your boy, but he was acting like a dumbass.
We were done. We won the game. All right, I'm not going to give him a hard time for doing that. He did.
That's when we started getting in fights.
That's his third. What is that? His third kickoff return that's been nullified by a penalty.
I have no idea.
I think,
wouldn't even know where that stat would come from.
Me either. I just remember watching the game and saying, "Oh, that's the third time that happened." Dick. But
I mean, the third time a touchdown's been called back, or a third time?
No, kick return.
Oh,
like in the end zone touchdown, though.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I really think it's at least twice, if not three times. I think he did it twice in one game. Either way, it might be a blessing in disguise kind of thing because Tomlin obviously was harping on them hardcore. You know, they looked really good. The first penalty was that offsides at the very end of the first half when we kicked it onto the 1 yard line and they had to get it out just to kneel it.
Yeah, that was weak.
That was our first penalty, which is great. You know, it didn't really hurt us. It kind of sucked, but what are you gonna do? But then that kickoff. So now Tomlin was obviously on their back to begin with. Now, even though we won the game, it didn't kick us in the ass too much, and now he can still drive it into their heads. You're still fucking up. You're still fucking up. You're still fucking up. You're still fucking up. And maybe they continue to improve upon it.
Yeah, they definitely have to improve. I mean, we know they had a good game, but it was Washington at home.
Yep.
And now we got New York coming in, and I mean, we have to be ready.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Before we go to New York, we'll do that next. What did you think of the uniforms? Got to touch on it.
The uniforms, yeah. You said you didn't have anything to complain about. Everybody's complaining about these uniforms, and I be honest, I didn't like them when I was looking at the pictures of them. But on the field, I thought they were cool, and the better we played, the more I liked them.
Yeah, they're all right. I hated those fucking yellow helmets that they used to wear.
Oh, yeah, this is a lot better than those black ones with the yellow helmets.
I think they should wear different color pants, but I don't think they should wear throwback jerseys at all. I mean, wear the normal jerseys. We've been the Steelers forever. We've looked the same forever. That's one great thing about the Steelers. We still have the logo on only the one side of the helmet. They have the same jerseys they wore in the 70s, probably before that. I just don't know much about them before the 70s because no one gives a shit. But, that's
the start of it as far as we're concerned.
Right. So it's why do you have to do some throwback jerseys from the 1920s just to sell more merchandise, which kind of pisses me off, so fuck those jerseys.
So you don't want Dan Rooney to make any more money?
He's fine. Not off those stupid-ass jerseys. If he stops using those jerseys, I'll buy a real jersey.
All right.
Give me an 8-4. I'll take an 8-4 on my back. You have an 8-4?
No.
Who you got?
I got Woodley.
Oh, that's a good one.
I got Woodley and I got Bettis.
Bettis.
From 6th grade.
Bettis is awesome. I'm not a big football jersey fan. I haven't had one. I've had one in my life, so I have had one. I've had one in my life. I wore it to my 6th grade picture. It was a Rod Woodson jersey.
Sick.
It was so big on me. It was hanging off my shoulders. I have a stupid ass bowl cut and a mouthful of metal. I looked ridiculous.
I have my Ben's jersey. I got that in 5th grade when we made the Super Bowl run. And I weigh roughly 100 pounds more than I did then. Roughly.
Yeah.
And it still fits.
They were so big.
That's just how we wore jerseys in the 90s.
That's right. Completely oversized and then tight pants.
With your Zubaz pants.
Yeah.
I had them too. Those don't fit anymore, but the jerseys still fit.
Hey, can't win them all.
I guess not. What else? Talk about things to make up to complain about. You texted me during the game and mentioned how much you were enjoying the announcers, and I found that very odd. Can you tell me why?
I didn't think I said it like that. I said I actually like the announcers this week. I'm not on their balls or licking their asshole or anything.
Well, just even mentioning it.
Right. It was really, really weird. It was halfway through the third quarter, I was just I'm not even yelling at the television. I don't even know what the hell's going on. It's like someone took over my body. And I think a lot of that is the credit to the announcers because a lot of times they say stupid ass shit, and I say stop saying stupid ass fucking shit. So
it was Brian Billick and some nameless, faceless dude. So Joe Buck and Aikman were doing the Dallas game, so we had like the Fox B squad. So your favorite announcing crew is the Fox Sports B squad.
You know, I always didn't like Fox Sports because of that stupid robot or whatever. For whatever reason, maybe because the Steelers are just always on CBS, and I always just don't like Fox. But I like Aikman and Buck. They're like, I think I said that when we first talked about this. I think Aikman and Buck are the best two. If I have to pick my poison. But these guys were good too, so it makes me think that maybe it's not the worst. I hate Gus Johnson, that douchebag motherfucker, but
he doesn't even do it anymore.
I think he does college football, and
he works for some.
He still works for Fox, but they bring him in every once in a while. But I really liked him. I liked Billick. Maybe it was just because the Steelers were winning and in control of the whole game. Maybe it was, but
if the announcers aren't pointing out shit that we're doing wrong, then you like them.
Maybe, but I hate like Bob Airey and Steigerwald too for being too big of a homer. So it goes both ways. I think it's ridiculous when they go overboard either way. Obviously, I'm more sensitive when they go overboard on us or like
the negative.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think that they did a good job. I like the way that guy had good promos about like the soldiers watching overseas. And he did some other fucking shit that was heartfelt.
You love the soldiers overseas?
Hey, I am in debt to you.
Our freedom. They're protecting our freedom.
This one goes out to you, boys.
All right, so let's get to the Giants because I watched Fox all day yesterday from like 12:30 until 11:30 at night. So I watched that Dallas-New York game, and honestly, Eli didn't impress me yesterday. I mean, he got the victory, but if it wasn't for Tony Romo being Tony Romo and Des Bryant's fingers, he probably would have lost.
Yeah. But
still, that said, I mean, our secondary has our work cut out for it a lot more than they did against RG3.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. They went up 23-0 after Romo threw 3 picks and they fumbled, and I put on Pawn Stars for a little bit and then came back. But they always do this. All the time the Giants do this. They barely win. Eli is a lot like Ben in that category where they win. You know, Eli has a couple good numbers, but Eli always throws a pick.
But he always comes back at the end.
Right. But and it's going to be hard for our defense to do that. So we need to stay on the field, and we need to not turn it over. I think that's the selling point. I think they should talk about it the whole time. They caused 6 turnovers against Dallas. That's a big deal. And the week before, they destroyed San Francisco with turnovers as well. They beat them 30-3 or 36-3 or something.
Okay. And I hear you, but that's Alex Smith and that's Tony Romo.
Yep.
And we just got done saying about how well Ben's been doing lately. So
he's due.
How do you feel?
They're playing the Super Bowl champions, man. I'm not trying to say that Ben is I mean, he's a lot better than Alex Smith, but they're also good too, you know. They made them turn it over 6 times. Maybe they only make Ben turn it over twice. But if that happens, we're still going to lose. We need to keep control of the ball. He could throw 1 pick. No fumbles.
You're giving him 1 pick?
I'll give him 1 pick. I'm going to go
if he
up.
throws that pick, I don't want to hear you. I don't want you to text me, or I don't want to hear you bitching about it.
Depends when it is. Pick. He can't. It can't happen in the fourth quarter. He can have 1 pick, none in the fourth quarter. Eli.
1 pick in the first half, and it has to be in like midfield.
Yeah, that's right. Don't fuck it up, Ben. I think I'm gonna. I like the way the Steelers are heading. It's hard to pick them in this game away against the 6-2 world champion Giants. We lost to Tennessee away. We lost to Oakland away. So
yeah, we are not good on the road. We have not been good on the road yet. And this is going to be a huge test. This is like a real team here we're playing.
Right. And this, I think the Steelers play to their opponent. I think they play to their competition. and that's hurt us. Oakland's Oakland was like 1-5 or 1-4, and they had beat us at one point in the season. So, we played down to them. We played down to Tennessee. Hopefully, we step it up. We're going in the right direction, and we step it up and play New York. If we can not turn the ball over, we are going to be able to get some rushing. We're going to be able to get those short passes, and if we can somehow get one deep pass, it'd be nice to maybe try it once. They might.
We'll try it. Ben's probably itching for it now, and he thinks this is the time to do it. Try and catch these guys off guard.
That's one
because, like you said, we have to score and we have to keep the ball.
That's one thing about the Giants is they can fucking score quick. They what was that game? I think it was the Washington game where he threw a 87-yard pass to Victor Cruz with 1 minute left to win.
I love Victor Cruz, man.
That
Victor
never happens
Cruz
to us.
Is like Antonio Brown before Antonio Brown was, and he has a little bit of Mike Wallace in him with that deep stuff you're just talking about.
I don't know if he was that much before him. Last year was his first real year, right? I think it was.
Yeah,
he was
last year.
So same with Brown. They both coming up at the same time. I think they're two of the best receivers in the league. So it's going to be a tough test. Maybe we put Ike on him all the time, how well that worked against A.J. Green. Maybe you put him on him. Or Nix, one or the other, because Nix is really good too.
Yeah, but I think Cruz is their boy.
We need Clark back.
Clark, he'll play.
Yeah, I don't see him sitting out a concussion. This isn't hockey. But
no, I don't think he'll sit out, especially with Troy out. Clark knows he's important. Alma knows he's important.
He's very important. He's just as important as Woodley or Timmons, who are all very important. Or Taylor.
Clark is the most important one on the defensive side of the ball. Because without Troy out there, he's like the general. He's moving people around. And he's our best D-back.
Right. And did you notice that how we've been playing Allen the last 2 weeks instead of Monday? Will Allen?
Yeah.
Then,
he had a good game.
Yeah.
He broke up one pass, and then I didn't hear his name the rest of the time, which is good for a defensive back.
Yeah. Suckbag Monday comes out when fucking Clark gets a concussion. I thought, Suckbag Monday comes out, we get that touchdown call back, and I was like, Hurricane, whatever the hell her name is, Sandy's getting us wet now.
I was worried going in, but whatever. What else about New York? They got a good pass rush, but so if the line holds up and Ben gets the ball out quick, we'll be okay. And the usuals need to show up. Our receivers need to show up. Our running game needs to show up. And I think Miller is going to be the most important, especially watching that Dallas game. Witten had a huge game. I think he had like 17 catches, some ridiculous number. I don't know what, but Miller is Ben's Witten.
Yeah.
So if he shows up, then I think we're going to be okay.
Witten is so good. He killed me in fantasy. I had Gronkowski, who had like 8 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and 120 yards. And Witten destroyed him. It was just like, Witten's good. I think a lot of people forget how good Miller really is. Miller was a first-round draft pick. So he was the best tight end coming out of that league. He is a very good player. Arians always underused him. Everyone knew he underused him. And I'm glad that's another notch for Todd Haley or Score or whatever. He's been using the people that we don't normally use. Ben's hitting every receiver. So, including them.
Ben is loving this offense, I think. He might not be getting the numbers he's doing, but he gets to throw the ball whenever he wants, and he gets to win games.
Yeah, I think I think he was friends with Arian, so it was tough for him to move on, But I think that he realizes why it had to happen. Haley is actually running the ball and sticking to it. He's getting the best out of the whole offense, and that's all you could ask for. Before we move on, no turnovers. No turnovers, no turnovers. That's my point of the week. Don't fuck it up.
All right, no turnovers.
No turnovers.
Ben gets one.
If we don't get any turnovers, or if we get one turnover and it's in the first 3 quarters, we will win.
Ooh, that's bold.
But
that's a bold claim.
If we get an interception in the 4th quarter or 2 or more turnovers, we lose.
All right, well, there's lots of stipulations there, but I'm going to hold you to it anyway.
Record this. What the fuck are we doing?
All right, so let's move on. The World Series is over, and we didn't even talk about it. Baseball season came and went. The postseason, and we didn't even talk about it. So
We talked about the Pirates, but you're right.
We talked about baseball. We haven't talked about the postseason at all.
Well, we were going to talk about the World Series, and they closed that shit up pretty quick.
Yes, they did. Well, let's start way at the back. Let's do the whole postseason, just the highlights of it. I would say it started pretty wild with that wild card game, the one-game playoff, which ends up being more like a play-in, I guess, with the infield fly rule that caused everybody in Atlanta to throw their beer on the field. Did you watch that game?
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was the thing about baseball is all of a sudden, once you score one run, you can score like 10 runs. You'll bat around the order, you know? It's kind of like a momentum thing in baseball. And,
there's lots of momentum.
But at the same time, you could strike out 2 times in a row and not get any runs. It's like that first run is all important. And that was a bad call. There is no doubt. There was no doubt about that being a bad call. Everyone and their mother knows it's a bad call. But did it change the outcome? I'm not convinced. I would be pissed as shit if that happened to us. But it's Atlanta, so go fuck yourself.
I was talking to Franco when that happened, and could you imagine if like that was the Pirates, that we waited 20 years to make the playoffs, we get into this one-game playoff, and then something like that causes us to lose? I mean, like everybody was pissed at those.
That's what's going to happen next year.
But
so we're going to be good. We're going to be good until that point, and that's how they're going to break our heart next year.
Everyone was pissed at those Atlanta fans for doing that garbage, but
no way.
If that would have happened to me, I probably would have been arrested.
Yeah.
Never allowed in PNC Park again.
That's hard to do, but I believe you. I believe you.
I would have ran on the field, and I don't know what I would have done. I would have tried to do something physical with the umpire, and I probably would have gotten cold clocked by a right fielder.
Yeah, no one likes you on the field. You'll get sweet chin music by Tabitha or something. What do you think about the play-in game, the second wild card spot? You a fan of that?
I mean, the second wild card spot I think is good because it keeps more teams in it, more cities in it, longer in the season. But if you're going to play 162 games and then it comes down to one game and you don't even get a chance to set up your rotation, I think that's bullshit and it's stupid. Why not make it 3 games?
Win the division.
But, I mean, it's pointless, though.
Well, I kind of like it because it puts more emphasis on winning the division. And then it lets that second team in. So it really is a wild card situation. I mean, before
but that's fair to that other team.
Who? The wild card. There's 3 division winners and 2 wild cards.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that before. Before, there was
1 wild card.
And everybody had a series.
No, yeah, but now the division winners get their series, and then the wild cards have to prove that they deserve to be in it. I like that. It actually makes it a wild card. It makes the emphasis on winning the division, you know?
Right, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't feel like the playoffs to me. It feels like it's just an extra game in the season. It's the 163rd game. It's not the first game of the playoffs.
So you want to add 3 more.
Yeah.
But it's already forever long, and then make the other teams wait. I think
spring training a week earlier.
It had to be a 1-game playoff, or it shouldn't be there at all. That's my opinion on this.
Well, I bet you that it changes within the next 5-10 years.
Fuck you.
All right, whatever. Moving on. New York. After New York got past Baltimore, they got swept. And we'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to take a minute and give a shout-out to the Orioles because they were my team from April because they came out swinging in April. The Pirates were struggling early, and I saw that if Baltimore could do it, then we could do it. You know what I mean? They were my team. I was like, well, we suck again, but
Show
if Baltimore
Walter.
can do it, if Baltimore can do it, then anybody can do it. Why not us? So I went to the mall. I got my new era, my Baltimore new era.
No.
Yes.
Baltimore?
Yes. Andrew or what's his name?
Yeah, Jones. Right? Andrew Jones.
I don't know.
That's his name.
Adam Jones. Not Andrew Jones. He's from way back. Yeah, Adam Jones. He's my boy. I don't know his name, but I love him.
You don't know his name, but he's my fucking favorite player.
I don't want to talk about this for. That's all I wanted
Yep.
to say. Was Baltimore had a good season. Good for them. They made the playoffs, and they gave New York a series.
I hate
Let's
Baltimore.
talk the Yankees sucking. The Yankees got swept, and they didn't even. It was worse than being swept. Nobody. I don't think anybody on the team got a hit the whole series against Detroit. They benched Rodriguez.
Yep.
They benched Granderson.
Yeah, yeah.
And
The two All-Stars.
If they could have, they would have benched Cano.
And Jeter broke his foot.
And Jeter broke his ankle. Old man Jeter. So
That's one good thing about living in Boston is everybody hates the Yankees. And especially that I don't give a shit about the Red Sox. Everybody wants to see the Yankees fail. And it's great just hanging out with if you just have if you have
easy to hate the Yankees. You can get along with anybody.
Yeah, if you're at the bar, everyone's just cheering against the Yankees. If it's on everyone's talking about it. It's like a big thing. It's and it's fun. You're like, yeah, fuck you, A-Rod, douche.
You think he's going to stay there?
He already won, man. He makes $1 billion.
Okay.
Who's going to take his contract? The Pirates? Would you take A-Rod?
Would I take A-Rod? Depends on how much I had to pay him.
I'd take him.
Take A-Rod.
I'd take A-Rod in a second and pay him half of his money.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. I'd still take him. He'd still be an upgrade.
All right, well, they sucked. They looked bad against Detroit, and they looked so bad against Detroit that everybody was convinced that Detroit was going to just keep on plowing, keep going through, and they were heavily, heavily favored in the World Series. And I think Verlander let them down.
I hate to say that because I think I watched that game one. Verlander looked good. Sandoval hit those pitches, but it was even the announcer said it. It's those were good pitches, high and inside. Sandoval usually goes low outside. Is hot zone or whatever, the red zone on the video game, and he has nasty. He might be the best pitcher. He might be one of the best pitchers ever.
Oh, he's certainly
He's so good.
He was the best pitcher this year and was the best in the last 5 years, but I don't think not all of those pitches were good to Sandoval. He kept them up. That one that he hit away, he couldn't even believe that it went out. But none of those were.
But yeah, it was incredible that he did it. You know?
But still, I was going to say Verlander let him down. Getting rocked in game one, it set the tone for the whole series. The Giants had all the confidence in the world that if we can beat, like you just said, the best pitcher in the game and beat him handily like this, what the hell are they going to throw at us next?
Yeah, it's unfair to put it on Verlander.
I know it's unfair. I say Verlander let him down for that momentum thing, but who really let him down was Cabrera and Fielder. Fielder, I think, only had one hit.
He's like Bonds. He never shows up. My girlfriend's a Milwaukee fan. She's from Milwaukee, and Fielder's been on Milwaukee the last 3 years, and he never shows up in the playoffs, ever, because I was watching a lot of those Milwaukee games, and he never shows up. He always strikes out. He always pops up. In true to form.
And Cabrera, he had that home run last night, so I thought, last night was the only one that was a game.
It was already over, though. It was when the Penguins went down 3-0 to Philly. You're not coming back. It's not going to happen. They've already given up.
And then he struck out to end the game, looking at a fastball down the middle, which you can't do that if you're the Triple Crown MVP. But so they suck. I'm not on them.
It's too bad that series was that quick. I would have loved to. I love Game 7s.
Right.
Any
As
sport.
A fan, yeah, it would have been nice to see more games but more meaningful games. But I like baseball because every play is important, every pitch is important. So even though Detroit lost those games, they were still good games. You know, they were still entertaining. They were still nerve-wracking for the players and managers involved.
Maybe. I know. It's funny. Yeah, that's true. It's very true. But I really don't know what it feels like to watch a baseball game and be nervous the whole time. Like watching a Penguins overtime game, like in the reminiscence, like thinking back. I mean, I remember the 92 a bit. My dad hating on Bonds every time he came up saying he choked. And boy, was he right. But like, and he tells me about it. It was like back when the Pirates were good. I remember staying up all night watching the Pirate game, not being able to sleep for an hour after because you're so nervous every pitch for the whole entire baseball game.
Yeah, 3 hours of
on
the edge of your seat.
I mean, it's obvious that the playoffs are better than regular season to me, no matter what, but I don't have that personal attachment to it, you know? Like, I can't remember that feeling. That's one of my favorite things about hockey and the playoff hockey is that feeling of them getting down and winning, obviously, is a big part of it, too, but...
Right. Like, I understand that, and I feel the same with hockey, those hockey games, but the difference is that hockey is so much more fluid that you are always reacting more.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Baseball is everything is
deliberate.
Yes, very deliberate. Like it's planned. Like the batter will step out, the catcher will come out and talk to the pitcher, the batting or the pitching coach will come out, and everything is discussed and dissected. And
you have 5 seconds.
Everything has a purpose,
and it all comes down to that one pitch or that one swing.
Right.
I wanted Detroit to win. I don't know. I don't have any attachment to Detroit. For some reason, I feel bad for Detroit and like all the shit that it's been through. It was such a huge town back in the day with like all the automotive business and everything. I kind of relate it to Pittsburgh to a degree because Pittsburgh was that way. Like our whole economy was tied up in the steel industry, and like when it went away, the city had a hard time coping with it. I mean, I know we're probably a little too young to realize it, but I mean, if you read up on it and look at the things that happened while we grew up, I mean, it was just getting back, you know? Like, when I was a kid, it wasn't cool to be from Pittsburgh, but now all of a sudden it gets, like, these titles of being a nice place to live again and, like, a destination, which is great for the city. I kind of look at Detroit, and they're, like, after us in this kind of thing, so I hope that they're able to rebuild themselves. So, I guess I kind of have a soft spot for Detroit. That and Justin Verlander's penetrating Kate Upton, so, hey, I'd slap his high five anytime. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
God damn, lucky son of a bitch.
Maybe that's why he was smiling, even though he got lit up.
Oh, yeah, that's why he's smiling? What do you think he's going on to?
Even though he got lit up by that fat bastard.
He
Sandoval
does have a
owns
weird...
him.
Sandoval has a weird fucking look to him, huh? He looks like he's fat, but he's not. You know? He has just like that fat-ass face.
He's fat.
Not really. I mean, he's a Major League Baseball player. I mean, he's skinnier than, like, Prince Fielder.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's round.
He is, yeah. His head's like a fucking orange. It's like Carl Pilkington.
Kung Fu Panda. One of the worst nicknames ever.
Is that really his nickname?
Yeah.
You cuddly little bastard.
Zito gave it to him.
Who did?
Zito.
Zito. Let's talk about Zito for a second. I wanted to mention him just for a shout out. I liked Barry Zito. When was this? Like in high school. He was on Oakland.
Yeah, like 2002.
Yeah, he won the Cy Young in 2002. And he didn't start a World Series game ever in his career until this year. So there was like a 10-year difference between winning the Cy Young and starting a World Series game. And that's the first time that's ever happened. Like a big distance.
And he sucked.
Yeah, it was horrible.
He sucked this year.
He
last year. And he has
forever.
He had like the biggest contract for a pitcher, and he was just
terrible.
Awful.
And they left him off the postseason roster 2 years ago when they won the championship, and then they left him off a couple years before that when they were in it. He never played, and that's why I think it's kind of cool that he had his redemption. He outpitched Verlander in the first game.
Yep.
I mean, good for him. That's another great story. Thought I'd bring it up.
Speaking of pitchers that have been up and down, Lincecum, who is, if you say Verlander's the best now, if you would have asked me 2-3 years ago, I would have said Tim Lincecum was the best pitcher in the game. And he was in the bullpen. Verlander was always good, but Lincecum was there too, you know, in that same echelon. Right.
Verlander doesn't really go up and down, and that's what's so great about him. But Lincecum, yeah, it's weird to me how pitchers in baseball have like a bad season and can't turn it around until the whole next season. That blows my mind. It's like you play so many games, you pitch so many games, you have at least 25, 30 decisions, and those aren't even all the games that you start. And you can't turn it around at any point in time. That just is so weird to me that pitchers in baseball can't get out of a slump until an off season. That's so weird to me that he was so good. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see much of the last couple games of the World Series. Did he talk to me about what he did? What was his role?
Well, they let him pitch. I don't remember when it was, but he had a start, and I don't think it was in the World Series, and it didn't go well. So they sent him back to the bullpen, and he comes out, and he shuts him down, man. He'll pitch 2 innings, 3 innings, and strike everybody out.
So he did. So he came out blazing.
Yeah, like he used to.
Well, I wouldn't move him. Do you think they should keep him in the bullpen?
No. He'll fix himself.
Yeah.
And he'll be back.
Yeah, he's good. He's one of those guys that's like, I don't even suspect him of doing steroids.
He's weird. He's not like other pitchers. He's very he's very
Lanky.
different. He he doesn't like. He's just naturally strong,
Yeah.
He doesn't lift.
It's like me.
He doesn't lift. He doesn't throw. He was just naturally. It's all that torque. I think he's like 5'9", 100 and some pounds, and he could just throw the ball.
Yeah, I hope he's back. I hope he's not another Barry Zito case, But that's good stuff. He was good. I hope he makes it a turnaround. Good for him to be able to contribute to the. I'm sure he's beating himself up.
He was loving it, man. Anything to contribute to winning the World Series, you got to feel good.
Yeah, especially when you didn't think you were going to be able to, and then you was able to come in and make a difference in the World Series. Good for him. That is one thing about baseball. There's so many good stories that come out of baseball, like individual efforts. Baseball is a very individual kind of game. It is a team sport, but it's not like football or hockey. Like you're not all on the field. You're on the field at the same time, but if you're batting,
it's definitely an individual game masked as a team sport. Like it's you against the pitcher. Or if somebody hits you the ball, you have to make the play.
Right.
You're always out there on your own. You're in the batter's box by yourself. You're on the mound by yourself. You're on the base pass by yourself. It's a very lonely feeling, even though you have all those people around you.
Yeah, that and basketball. Basketball is just like such an individual sport.
Wow, I don't know about that. But
What?
Let's talk about a few more people. Posey was being Posey, definitely the MVP. I remember when it was either going to be Posey or McCutcheon. Who's going to win this? Who's going to be that? Well, obviously, Buster Posey is a lot better than Andrew McCutcheon.
Shouldn't count.
What?
The playoffs shouldn't count in that.
They don't count in that, but
They do. Don't let it fool yourself. They do. But
no, they don't.
yeah, they do.
Okay.
It makes a bigger difference if that player wins the World Series than.
I think they vote on it before the playoffs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So I'm wrong. Won't be the first.
But it's just, obviously, he hits home runs in the World Series. McCutcheon can't get a single in September. So there's the difference. And then Marco Scutaro. Marco Scutaro, I love this dude. Like, what a pickup. This guy's amazing. He hit 500. Like, holy. I know personally because I picked him up for my fantasy team in July, and I rode him all the way to fantasy championship.
You barely beat me in that one in our semifinal. I think you won 7-6 or 8-7.
Then I did work in the finals though, so don't worry about it.
All right. It's funny because he played in Boston up through last year, and Boston did nothing after they fucking had a huge collapse. They hired Bobby Valentine and got rid of Marco Scutaro and thought they were going to be okay. And I just find that hilarious that Marco Scutaro went out there and played the stretch of his life. Great.
Yeah, look, this is the difference between. Let's talk about the Pirates again. The Giants pick up Hunter Pence and Marco Scutaro. Scutaro helps get them in the playoffs. He was on fire all summer, and Pence struggled, but then he had first RBI in the game in Game 4. So
yeah.
Who did we pick up? Some kid play right field that he ended up getting hurt or didn't even start for the rest of the year.
Snyder.
And he's got two people who contribute to a World Series. So there's another difference for you.
I think there's a lot more than that, but
that's just one example.
So baseball season's over.
Yes.
When do the pitchers and catchers report? March?
February.
Will you be ready? You going to be ready for the Pirates season? You back?
I swore off the Pirates, much like you swore off the Steelers.
Oh.
A few weeks ago, and I'll probably be ready again by the time pitchers and catchers report. It's an exciting time, but I'm still standing by that they need to do something.
Yeah, like we said, we're happy to be wrong. We just want them to win and do well.
So long to baseball season. It was nice. Well, actually, it wasn't that nice.
It's very depressing, actually.
It's gone, and hopefully it's better next time around. So the last thing we want to talk about today is the NBA. So baseball's over. Hockey, we don't know if it's ever coming back. And being the dedicated sports fans that we are, we wanted to do something with the NBA. But really, I don't even know how many NBA fans we have as listeners. I don't even know how many listeners we have. But are you even an NBA fan, you yourself?
If you asked me about a year and a half ago, the answer would have been no. And I've lived in Boston the past 5 years. I kind of jumped on the Celtics bandwagon a little bit. When I first moved here, they were winning championships, so that was fun. And the Celtics were the only team that since the Pittsburgh doesn't have a NBA team, it was the only team that I could full-fledged get on. We talked about how I couldn't support the Red Sox because I support the Pirates. And
right.
If you're going to make a big deal about it, then I will pick the Pirates every time, no matter what. So with the Celtics, I didn't have any kind of choice to make. So yes,
no prior allegiances.
Right. So I do follow them. I kind of became a little bit of a bigger fan this last 2 years, two postseasons. Playoff basketball is fun too. It's just as fun as March Madness if you have a horse in the race. You know, the thing is, the NBA, in my opinion, is a complete joke. It's fun to watch, but it's a complete joke. The refs have way too much to do with it. If you can look at the refs and decide who's going to win the game, especially in the playoffs, then it's a flawed system.
You sound like a Boston fan talking.
Maybe, but it's ridiculous. LeBron has 30 foul shots in one game at home, and then he gets then no one gets any. It's just a disgrace. The one guy was betting on the games, caught betting on the games. They go and do this investigation. They fire him and say he was a rogue ref. When there was phone records upon phone records of him texting another ref about the games, and that ref still refs playoff games. And it's always the big markets in the finals. It really seems like it's fixed to me. It's like
Oklahoma City was in the finals last year.
It's like the WWF. It's the WWF. Yeah, but Oklahoma City has the most exciting team.
Well, that's because they're good.
True, yeah. But you're saying it's like
because they're good, not because they're exciting.
No, but who'd they play? San Antonio. You think
old ass San Antonio?
Yeah, they definitely didn't want them in there, so they put in Oklahoma City. What's your point?
They didn't put them in. They couldn't guard. They couldn't guard Durant and Westbrook.
They put them in. When Stern took over as commissioner, the NBA was showing their playoffs on tape delay. Now they're a billion-dollar industry, and it's not because the games just played out how they would have. He's made it into a spectacle that always is just this flash in the pan, and he gets away with it. And the ratings go higher when LeBron's in the finals, and everybody's happy.
Are you one of those guys that like college basketball better than the NBA?
I used to be, but lately I college basketball hasn't really done it for me. I mean,
No.
so I like the NBA. I was one of those people, but I never watched the NBA. But now that I've watched the NBA, it's obvious to me that it's better. So
they're better athletes.
they're all the best players from college.
Yeah.
The thing about college is the worst team can win. Whoever's the best player on the floor, 9 times out of 10, that team's going to win.
In college or the NBA?
In the NBA. In college, a team can come together and beat an individual. But in the NBA, an individual can win a game. Like, LeBron's going to win. Or Kobe's going to win.
And that's fine, I think. Because I think they're that good.
No, they make them win.
Okay.
I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist. I think that Oswald shot Kennedy. And I think we were on the moon. But I think the NBA is fixed.
All right. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, so here's our idea to cover the NBA. We don't want to talk about it all the time, but as Pittsburghers, we don't have a team. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one to follow throughout the season, and we're just because like if we were going to talk about it like we do all the time, like the Steelers or whatever, we couldn't just go highlights of the week because that would feel too much like Sports Center. And we want to be emotionally involved. We want to be able to cry and argue and bitch and moan about our team. So here it is. We're each going to pick a team to follow. Joe, who's your team?
All right. I'm going to change it up to mess you guys all up. I'm going to go with the Celtics. Like I said, I kind of became emotionally involved in them. So if we're going to do this bullshit, I'll do it with them.
Stay with it.
Yeah. So the Celtics go as Garnett goes. I guess I'll fill you in a little bit. I won't try to go on too much because chances are no one gives a shit. Garnett's getting old. Boston was real worried about Garnett retiring this past year. And I had a feeling, or there was the feeling in Boston that if Garnett retired, they were going to blow up the whole team. They didn't. They got rid of Allen because he refused to play bench. And then he left and signed with the Heat to play off the bench, and now is crying like a little pussy-ass bitch about it. What a douchebag.
You don't like Ray Allen?
I don't really have any allegiance to him in the way that he's acting, but it's basketball. Never mind. He's all right. It's basketball.
I love Ray Allen, man.
They're all the
He's
same.
Best shooter ever. He's the best shooter in the history of the game.
But he's being such a bitch about leaving. He's like saying that they almost traded me once, and Boston went to pay him more money, and he didn't want to stay because he didn't want to come off the bench. But now he goes to Miami, complains about the way Boston treated him, and now he's coming off the bench in Miami. It's the same thing. But he's all right. A lot of guys do that kind of stuff in basketball, so why hate him for it?
Okay.
Rondo is a great passing point guard.
Do you think Rondo's the best point guard in the league?
I think he's the best passing point guard in the league.
Okay.
He can't shoot for shit. So
He's been shooting a lot better lately.
he did. In the playoffs, he stepped it up. He had a couple really good games, like 40-point games.
He was
shooting.
Yeah, he was the best player in the league for a few games in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that was promising. A lot of people were on his back. The Celtics tried to trade him early last year for Paul. And the NBA,
that would have been fine.
Yeah, and the NBA said it wasn't good enough. They thought they could get something better. And who'd they take? They take some bum from the Clippers. I don't know, but he really he stepped up, proved that he was worth staying, and he is top 3. I'd say Paul, Westbrook, Rondo are the 3 best point guards. The thing about Rondo is he's fast, he's young, and he runs. And the problem with the Celtics is they're old as shit. So.
Yep.
The good thing is that they
got some new guys though. Some new guys.
Yeah, they have Avery Bradley, who played really well defensively in the playoffs. Both of his shoulders were dislocating during the playoffs, and he sat out the Heat series. But he was
That sounds gruesome.
Yeah, it was disgusting. They showed it on the bench, like them popping it in as he rotated his shoulder. It was pretty crazy. They'll have him at the 2. The thing about Boston is they have this weird kind of and I think it's becoming more prevalent in the NBA where all kinds of they just get utility players, like in baseball, they could play any position. It's kind of like this hybrid player that Boston has a ton of them. They have Avery Bradley, great defender, and he can run with Rondo, which is nice. Which is, I think, is a big that will get Rondo a lot more points if he can run with somebody and pass between them as they go.
Who else?
Then they have Jason Terry, and
Who's
good shooter to replace Ray Allen.
I think he's a
And
good replacement because he can play. He can create his own shot if he has to.
he's been around forever, and he can shoot from the distance. They got Courtney Lee, who is a good backup or backup point guard. They have Jeff Green, who I don't know what to think of Jeff Green. He didn't play really at all last year.
I used to be a big Jeff Green fan, but now
In college?
we'll have to see. In college and early in his career, but we have to see now.
Yeah. So Danny Ainge is the GM. He used to play there, and he's the GM. He's done a really good job. He got Garnett from Minnesota. He brought Allen in, put the big three together. So he's like a big figure here in Boston.
Right.
And he traded Perkins, who was their championship-winning center, and traded him to Oklahoma City for Jeff Green. So I'm not sure if Jeff Green is really that good because he hasn't really shown anything. But
But he was behind all those guys now, so now he's gonna be playing more.
right, and so he
don't know if
could
he's
be
really
good,
fit.
but I don't know if he's good or if they want him to be good. You know what I mean?
We'll see.
So, and the last kind of guy they got was Sullinger. They picked him in the draft. He's looked great. He was in Ohio State.
Ohio, yeah.
He was supposed to be. He was really good. He came in.
He was the best. He was the best.
Yeah, he came in as a freshman and was just expected to leave and stuck around for what I don't know why, but he ended up sticking around for a while. And now he's having a great rookie season. He's not fast. He kind of reminds me of Paul Pierce, kind of. So like
A little smaller.
yeah, but they're kind of like slower, more deliberate players. He looks good. They also got Fab Melo in the draft. They got him late teens, early 20s. So it was a good pickup.
He's not gonna be that good.
Sullinger?
Mellow.
Oh no, Melo's dumber than a doornail. But
He's not gonna be that good.
if you can bring him in the playoffs and get a couple blocks out of him, that's all he's really good for. You know, they got the 2 first-round picks. They gave one on Sullinger, which looks to be turning out well, and they have Melo to come off the bench. The thing they don't
So
have.
Are you looking forward to this season, or do you think they're going to be okay? You think you're going to? Is it a title run team? Is this a title run team?
Yeah. If they can beat Miami, they can win. You know.
Well, yes.
Right, and they took Miami to 7 games. If Garnett plays the
You
way,
think they're better then? You think they're better than they were last year?
yeah.
Okay.
If Garnett plays the same way he did last year, he hurt his knee 2 years ago and was never really.
He's another year older.
Yep, and he wasn't really the same, but he played great. Maybe he has one more run in him. You never know, you know. But Garnett's good. Pierce is the heart and soul of Boston. He's been here forever. Rondo is a quality point guard. They're better than anyone else in the East, in my opinion, other than Miami. I mean, if they can beat Philadelphia out for the division, they finish top 3. Worst case, they come in 4th.
They'll beat Philly.
Right. So I see them coming in 2nd in the East, and if you're 2nd in the East, you're a championship caliber team.
All right.
So who you got? Who you going to go with?
Well, usually I'm a Lakers guy, and I don't know why.
Lakers.
No reason.
That's like Yankees.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I love Kobe. I love his game. I love his weird hatred that he has for everybody. But I'm going with the Thunder because Lakers is boring, like you said. I'm gonna go with the Thunder. I love their game, their coach, their concern. My only concern is that they just dealt Harden for I don't know why.
I know. I saw that today.
I'm not going to go into it too much now because I want to talk about it next week a little more. But just to go, they made it to the finals last year. They're young. Westbrook is sick. As soon as he learns to either make those threes or to stop shooting the threes, he's going to be that much better. So either has to learn to shoot or to learn to pass. Either one.
Yeah.
But he can get to the hole. He can get to the basket better than anybody in the league. He's fast. He's the fastest person I've ever seen dribbling a basketball.
They're good. They're really good. When you told me about this idea, I took the Celtics and was hoping that you would take Oklahoma City because they are a very exciting team to watch. They're very good. I think that they're going to be better than Miami in the near future. Maybe not this year.
Well, I don't know now because of this deal, but we'll talk about it next week. Like I said, Durant is the best player in the league.
Best?
He's the best shooter in the league. He's the best scorer in the league. And we're going to see what LeBron does this year. If he's going to, I think he finally fully embraced that role of being a big, a versatile big, instead of trying to handle all the time.
Durant did?
No, LeBron.
Oh, okay.
So if LeBron really, I mean, he was working with I forget what I read somewhere. He was working with Olajuwon or something, or I don't know who the hell he was working with this summer. But if he adds a jump hook or some more post moves, he is going to be the most dominant player to ever play the game. But
oh yeah, that's a big statement too.
It is a big statement, but I would stand behind it.
Well, he needs to win a hell of a lot more to be the most dominant player ever to play.
But
you mean in the game or
he just
ever?
He just won his first title, and I think he was
Late.
the same age as Jordan.
Really? Jordan wasn't there that long before.
Jordan went to college.
Yeah. Well, I do see LeBron kind of like a Sidney Crosby. You know, they have all the talent in the world, and Sidney Crosby comes in and he improves. You know, when he had trouble with the face-offs, then he went back and did face-offs, and then he had trouble. They said he wasn't scoring enough goals. He went out and came back after a season and scored more goals. You know, they have all the talent in the world, and they just have to. If they can just keep on adding dimensions to their game, they're unstoppable. And I do see LeBron like that. I mean, it's hard to say he's going to be better than Michael Jordan, but you never know. Maybe he will. He's young. He got into the league so early, and he has a cast around him now that can actually win.
And as the pressure's off, he's going to be excited. He's just going to be playing the game to play the game. Now that he's the man. But back to Durant. I remember when he was in college. He's the skinniest dude I've ever seen. When he was younger, but he can shoot the lights out, and he's still growing into his body. He's just getting that man body, so he's going to keep improving, and he's winning scoring titles. So I'm going to say, if you had asked me a few days ago, I would have picked Oklahoma City to be in the finals against Miami. Now I'm not so sure. We have to think about it and look at this trade
without Harden.
Without Harden, we're going to have to look at the makeup of their team a little bit more. But so that's what our idea is for the NBA, and I'm really excited about the NBA starting, man, because no hockey, like we talked about. There's nothing on TV. There's nothing to watch. So that's why this Friday is tip off, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, bring it on, man. Anything's better than nothing. Without hockey is really killing me. I hate to lament on it because I'm always lamenting on it, but man, it's a shame. They're gonna. I guess I'll just throw this in at the end. Didn't plan it, but it looks like they're gonna cancel the Winter Classic tomorrow, and that's it.
That's bad news.
Horrible news. I mean, if they cancel, I kind of think it might be a bluff move. But if it's not and they cancel it and don't bring it back, that's like a doom situation. It's almost like, why even play? That's a huge money maker for the owners. It's kind of like
digging their heels in.
It's kind of like they can wait all the way up to the game, the day of the game, and say that they're gonna move it back or reschedule it. So the NHL has wiggle room with the way the contract was made, but the NHL supposedly says we're canceling it. We don't have enough time to plan it. We have to pay all kinds of money, and there's no deal. They haven't met since that last deal. It is not good. So I'm with you. I'm ready for something to come back.
All right. Well, that's it for today. Very sports heavy. And like we said, that's okay. Next week we'll try to mix it up a little bit more. Maybe another guest, maybe not. We'll have to see. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
See you later, motherfuckers.
That's fucking interesting, man. That's fucking interesting.